Welcome. So, the whole series here is to again bring us deeper to the understanding that we are already free. Third eye means we are already free. Third eye simply indicates reality, while the two eyes talk about the falseness. There are many ways of activating this. There are many ways of going very gradually towards this. I'm not talking about yogic practices where you go and open up your third eye like a with a can opener. We are not talking about anything about forceful opening. You shouldn't. One must not do all those things like forceful opening of third eye and things like that. When we are not ripe to see things, you can see how hurtful things are when we listen to some truths, when we see some things which is very unusual. You can see how painful it is, how shocking it is, how uncomfortable it is. Sometimes it might even disturb a person to a very bad extent. I remember when we used to talk about Devi Kalodra in the start, it was a new subject almost 2 years back. I could see the reaction in many of the seekers. It was like a disbelief, literally, like, many might not understand this. But for some, it is very shaking because sometimes you have invested your whole life and energy into some belief. You imagine, and somebody comes and then tells that belief is just a belief. Like, for example, the God beliefs. You can see entire religions are based on that. The whole system is based on that. Generations have been in that. The whole generations. It is so strong, literally in your genes. So first of all, anything other than that belief, if it comes, we will shake it off. We will not like it. We will feel it is false because it is so deep rooted. That is why many of us don't challenge to see the truth. We just push it away. Now, in that state, that is known as a very beginner state, where one has not yet exposed themselves to the realities. They are still in the false. What is falseness? Anything that you see in this world, and whatever you call, whatever you can see, smell, touch, taste, hear, that's all in the false realm. So those who live in that totally, very difficult. Those whose lives are based only on vikalpas, that is projection of the mind, it is very difficult. Imagine all the beliefs that we have right from day one is simply projections. Now, how would one feel if they say it is just your vikalpa, kalpana kar rahe ho aap. It is just your imagination. They will not like it. You will be challenged. You will be literally, that's how people get crucified because it's such an odd statement. Because the whole world says it's so obvious, all these things, the concepts, gods, and things like that. It's so obvious. It's so clear. It is so deep rooted. We need not even think twice about that. And here somebody, these mystics, some mystics stand up and say that they will kill him or her because they'll think he's gone mad. She's gone mad. Crazy people. So these mystics who are awakened, and who are these mystics? These are mystics who are awakened, illumined. They are enlightened beings. So they are not talking from some book. They are simply talking their experience. And that is why it is more of disbelief because these guys don't even have books with them. Holy books. Imagine, Avaduts don't carry any holy books. They simply talk. And when they talk, they don't have mannerism. They don't have any decency. They don't look into your good and bad stuff. Merits and demerit, punya papa. They are not beyond all this. So for the world, it doesn't make sense because they have never seen anything like this. So it is very easy to call them crazy. And they look crazy also on top of that to top it all. Why they look crazy? They are not crazy. They are very normal. because they are living a normal experience. What is their experience? They're living it. So it becomes very challenging. It used to. It always is challenging for these avdutas and people who are like that. Look at Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. When he got so illumined, he used to worship, right? I put a post purposely. I try to put all these kind of posts which will, make literally people think, because it's not easy for people to think. So when you understand, okay, he also said this, okay, he also has been to that, people start reconsidering to look into that and investigate further and get off the delusion. So I put Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's post also, because Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is known as a greatest devotee, bhakta. He is known very well for his Kali Puja. He treated his mother, Kali, as his mother. And you know how great examples are given of his Kali Puja, the worship of Kali, how he treated his mother. But if you look at a certain stage of even Bhagwan Ramakrishna's life, he went totally crazy, according to us. You can say totally normal, but according to us, it's totally crazy. Because suddenly you can see him putting flowers on himself. What will happen? Somebody who's a bhakta every morning and evening and afternoon going and offering flowers to the Divine Mother. Now he's wearing the garland and he's putting flowers on himself. What will mad people call him? Mad guy. He's gone mad, they say. And imagine if people look at him and say, if this is what Kali Puja is going to do, I don't want to do Kali Puja. It's simple. Many of them are scared if they look at Avdutas. All big talks only. We are of lineage of Avdutas and all that. Nobody, if they look into it, they don't want to give a second look. They're scared. One even asked me, we are walking on this path, so will we become like that? This is all ignorance. Because even if you become that, when that is become, it doesn't matter. Now our egos will tell, oh, we are very decent and we are very diplomatic. We are having this kind of looks and we behave ourselves. All that bullshit. But when a person is got into that, when there is no dehabodha, how does it even matter? Right now there is a worry. It is not that everybody becomes like that. The statement is so what? Because let us understand, if spirituality has a goal, there is a problem. You keep a goal in spirituality, it will not align properly. Goal means vested interest. You want something out of it. So the entire run after that spirituality is a hoax. Ashuddha bhavana, impure intention. It becomes completely swartha. You want something out of it. That is why you are going there. Why do we want to meditate? Why do you want Atma Sakshatkara? We must ask these questions to ourselves. Why do we want? So there is a want for something. See, we must try and rectify these thoughts. We are trying to cater to the subject from all angles, if you see. No stone unturned. You can see we are every day digging into something or the other. This is so sukshma, because if you let go of this, something else will catch on here. You let go of this, something new will come on, or something old will come on. This is how we keep dangling. So looking at everything, staring at everything, this is the meaning of third eye opening, right? Opening of third eye means what? You seeing all the falseness. This is all falseness, what we are talking so deeply. So third eye of Shiva is the ruthless awareness, which penetrates into the subtlest of falseness. For that, we must have an open mind. Open mind is the permission that you give to that grace. I'm ready. Saying I'm ready will not work because we say something from internally, we are not fully ready. That is why the delays happen. And we might say, I've been praying for so long. Your prayers have no value. Intentions. Intentions, we feel what is going on in the mind as an intention. No way. You might say, my intentions are pure because you are thinking about an intention and considering that to be pure. No. Intention don't work on the mind level. Intention works on the emotional level. Bhava. Your bhava sharira is what you got to be careful of. Be looking at all the time. Bhava is what? Bhava is the subtlest of feeling that rises. And bhava will never lie. If you want to know whether bhava is pure or not, you simply go into that vibrational frequency of that and see, you'll come to know. If it is not right, there will be some kind of restlessness. It will not be a peaceful vibration. Mind might give you peace. Mind might say yes, yes, yes. But if you deeply go into that, you'll see you are not peaceful with it. Because Bhava knows what is right and wrong. From Bhava, grace. Grace is always working there. The doorway to opening the floodgates of grace is in the Bhava. How much we open. So, grace is something which is like the water drops on a Shivalinga. It keeps dropping all the time. It is there. It will exist always. It is like the Ganga flowing from Shiva's hair. It is always there. The flow is always there. It has to be there till there is Brahmanda. Grace has to be there. Let us understand this very clearly. The whole creation has been created out of grace only. It is maintained by grace. It will be dissolved by grace. Chaitanya Shakti. We have understood that in Shiva Sutras, the Tirobhava. By grace it unfolds, by grace it maintains, and by grace it sparks and pulls back everything. Yesterday we discussed that. One point of our life, we will feel the jerk. We are not even thinking of it, but something is happening from within. When you are unconscious to that something happening, that is the bhava. When you are not aware of that subtleness which is doing all the work, the mind will immediately start taking ownership for it, doership. So whatever appears, it looks like I am doing. Like these satsangs, for example. Will feel at this time I come, I make myself available. It's easy to say that way because I say, yeah, it's my wish. I cook up and keep, But if you see the underlying force which makes you, motivates you, inspires you, makes you, long for something, where is that longing coming? It's not coming from the mind because mind is being stimulated later. Mind is only delivering thoughts to you. What is the power of the thoughts? Have you ever imagined where these thoughts come from when you're meditating? We only think about negative thoughts. Where are they coming? No, there are positive thoughts also. Look deeply. Where does motivation and inspiration come from? You might say it is coming from my knowledge. No way. Yesterday I told you about the babies that are born. They have the inbuilt knowledge. Animals have the inbuilt knowledge while they are born. Something makes them move. The infant of the animals, they directly go and suck milk. Nobody has to give them a direction where it is, even when their eyes are closed. That is what we are talking about grace and Jnana Shakti. There is some intelligent force that is keeping up the whole entire universe. And I am emphasizing more and more on that because there is where everything is. If you can get into that zone, you don't need any kind of practices, any kind of methods, because you're going straight to that key to be opened, which needs so much of, which people do so many rigorous practices, but still they miss the boat because they are in the mind zone. They play with the mind, they practice with the mind. And what floods, when the grace floods, they can't see the grace. But that grace which floods the mind and gives them new illumination, new ideas, new powers, they catch that. And then they say, I did it. That's the problem. Even the powers, they feel it is an accomplishment. Accomplishment means we have achieved it. So that is where the whole purity shakes. The purity that we are calling mind wise, we might feel everything is pure, but on a certain vibrational level, it's impure. Any kind of tabulation, any kind of manipulation that is done in the natural flow of life is called impurity. There is a natural flow of force going on in this whole universe. The whole effort is to become aware of that cosmic force, become deeply aware, and then even observe how this cosmic force is running this so called my life. The day we are able to get that, which needs proper attention, which needs deep awareness, you cannot casually do this practice. Huh? You cannot. That is why it is so difficult. This is not a part time job. This is not like 30 minutes in the morning I'll do, or when I get time I'll meditate. This is not in that zone at all. This is completely a different zone. This is a zone where you are simply keeping yourself so aware and available at all times, which does not need you to take off your mind from the regular life, so called life that's happening. Watching this regular life itself is the part of the whole process, because there you are watching how cosmic intelligence is working through me and getting this work done. So there cannot be interference in the work. It's not correct to even say I will take off time from this and practice. No way. Taking off time means you are separating this time as the work time or family time or responsibility or worldly time. You're separating it as something different from the cosmos, something different, as though this whole process is not powered by the cosmic intelligence. So you're telling, I'll find a space, a corner, and a time where I'll sit, and then I'll do that. That's very wrong. That's why I'm telling you, it will not work. The moment see, that's the thing. The moment you think also this way, you have disconnected from the whole process. That's why I'm telling it needs a deep level of awareness and understanding, first of all. Very deeply, a deep understanding of what is it that we are trying to even understand. Or are we simply interested in singing bhajans of Krishna and worshipping the Shiva? And I'm telling you, you are not going to get anything. Singing, contemplation, these are all simply your mind level imaginations. Even Mahavatar Baba's team, the masters, ascended masters and all, they speak very high on this subject. They reveal what this God is all about. What I am talking, that is God. That is where Krishna is. Krishna will not come with a peacock feather on his head, mind you. Even if he comes, that will be your imagination. You will be very happy with that vikalpa. Krishna has to happen. And to happen, you have to be deeply aware because it's happening in the moment. Every moment it's happening. So a little change of perspective is needed if you want to get to the direct path. And these are all tips I'm giving, I'm sharing. Sutras. Again, as I said, it's not easy for beginners. Beginners need concepts. There is no way out. So I presume I'm not talking to beginners because if you're interested in the subject itself, it shows here because there is a scope of a level of, you know, an expectation of understanding that is there. You are looking to deeply perceive something. Without interest, you cannot perceive something. So you have to watch that interest. Where is that interest coming from? Why am I interested? Because I never made up my mind to be interested in this subject. It is not my, I cannot take ownership over this interest. Look carefully. It's developed from somewhere. I don't know where. I don't even know many of the subjects, but here I am. I'm looking at it. I want to understand it. I'm digging deeper into it. There is some quest from within. That's the point. Quest from within. You are not doing it. So when you become aware of that, where is this coming from? This deep interest that is awakening in me. You'll start connecting with that force which is making you do things. And this is not a part time happening. This is a full time activity, full blown activity. It is making us participate in life itself, not just the satsang, not just spiritual activities. Look again deeply. You'll see it is the same force that is making you even be active in the world. The interest in the world, the desire to achieve something, to do something. There also you point out and look. We say it is my desire. Impossible. Look very closely. If it is your desire, before the brain manifests, before the brain develops, how does even a baby has a lot of desires? Brain is not yet developed, but it has lot many desires. It has even the desire to get up from here and walk till there, or crawl from here to there. Who's telling it? It doesn't have a direction. It doesn't have a objective. It doesn't even know why it is going. But you'll see enthusiastically it is walking. Look at all these things I'm telling. You will not need any practice. This is the sadhana. When you do this only, Shiva Sutras, Vismayo Yoga Bhumika. Vismayo Yoga Bhumika. Yesterday, what we explained. Vismayo. Vismay is what? Excitement. Look at the child's Vismaya. The different stages of yoga is Vismaya. Vismayo Yoga Bhumika. Some guys come and sit at the start, they come and 15 minutes they're there and they go. It's like they come to scan. What is the topic today? And then they will connect. Crazy guys. So much. Will it? Is he talking something which will solve my problem from my 2 days? I'm having a lot of problem. You will be stuck your whole life in this only. You and your problems. Until you find the problem finder, who's who's this one who's searching for a solution finder. There is no solution, because you find one solution, you'll say, and you'll go and relax, you'll have one more problem. Again you'll run, who's speaking where, what to do, which guru to catch now, where to go and beg. Very It's a very delicate matter. So we only are the cause of our trouble. And this nothing can be done. Even if I am frustrated, so what? It's grace. It's a time. You can't do anything. Look at it. Look at the helplessness. Now tell, is anything in their hands? It is right here. If you want, everything is here. But there is some force which will not make them available there at that time. What can you tell this now? We have to see this. We have to examine closely on this again and again. Even the things that don't work in our life, you have to see what is that force which is not making things happen. If you look closely at it, you will start falling in love with that force, even if it is not making things happen, because you'll understand it is for good only, it is not making happen. Many things in life. You might say, oh, if somebody is coming here and then they're saying, then they're going away, is force making it for their good? Yes, it may be. Maybe they'll go crazy by listening to this. Many go weird. That is what I started the session with. They get into a hangover. Some are deeply shocked. They leave all their practices. Some go into a kind of depression, spiritual depression, it is called. Maybe if the spiritual depression is too hard for somebody to, they can be knocked out. The grace only will protect you. Run, my dear. One voice will come from inside. Save your life. Otherwise, it might give you new problems. That's how it works. See, that's the beauty. Look at this also, you'll see Vismaya. You'll see, wow. That's the whole thing. Vismayo Yoga Bhumika, Shiva Sutras, verse 12. Everything is that excitement. Everything has an excitement. That excitement comes only when you tap into that source, that cosmic intelligence. When you tap into that, every time you tap into that flow, there is a wow that happens from within. That wow comes when you are touching that spirit. Now you imagine one touch and there is a wow. Then your nerves settle down, everything settle down. Then maybe after half an hour, or maybe after a day, or maybe 2 days, again you listen, you hear, you touch, you smell, you see something, and then the wow. Long differences. Imagine happening every hour. See, life will start becoming blissful. The more gap is there between this Vismaya, you go back to your nonsense. We fall back into ignorance, and we are caught up in that until one more Vismaya come for some moment. You are this, then again you go down. So you imagine more sparks means it is awakening you. Vismaya starts becoming your habit. Now you imagine if that Vismaya is uninterrupted. That is what happened to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. One moment of Vismaya is like wow feeling, right? The whole thing you feel so good. It's a tremble and the whole thing. Actually, that Vismaya is bliss. It is a moment, it's one spark, 1 or 2 seconds. But if you investigate into that 1 or 2 seconds, it's Sachidananda. It's a bliss state. So when that is eternal and consistent, you can imagine what happens. So Ramakrishna was in that kind of state. Vismaya, constant Vismaya, childlike Vismaya. He looks at his body and he feels it's Kali. He looks at somebody else, he feels that's God. He looks at a flower, he feels that also is consciousness. Anything he looks at is God. He looks at his wife and he sees God. He sees a mother, Vismaya, constant state of explosion. You look at all the events in life when there is an excitement, a deep, pure excitement. At that moment, everything stops. Look closely. Time stops, distance stops, the breath stops at that moment. That moment, thoughts stop. It, it's a blank moment. It's a samadhi moment, actually, samadhi second. Any kind of hyper deep excitement, like even the sexual stuff, what happens in that orgasm, what we call so-called orgasm? In that moment of that orgasm, there is no mind, there is no thought, there is no time, there is no space, there is no distance, there is no I, there is no you. Duality ends. Even the presence of me also is not there. That moment, Vismaya. So that is why somebody tried to make that itself a path, because that is the same thing they are trying to do that. So what I'm trying to tell is, any area you look at, cosmic intelligence is bubbling into Vismaya. So the sexual union is known as what? Look closely again. Shiva and Shakti is merging. You look at the concept of Shiva and Shakti merging when the bindu, the vibration, and the awareness, what we are talking about. Yesterday we talked about that the vibration from nothingness, the vibration comes out. So when the vibration comes out, something is aware of that vibration. That which is aware of the vibration is Shiva, awareness, pure awareness. It's simply aware. Still, it doesn't move. Still, in stillness, it is simply aware. But what is moving, it is aware of that. When these two come together, is the divine romance. What is the romance happening there? The stillness is simply watching movement. Are you getting that? Stillness is watching movement. In that is a bliss. It is not movement versus movement. Huh? See, that's the whole concept. When we say Shiva and Shakti, we feel two people are. No, there is one that is still there, the other that is moving there. The engagement between movement and stillness is the divine romance. That's the whole thing, what we are talking so much about, that Ardhanareshwara, the divine marriage of Shiva and Shakti, what Devi Amma told me in Bangalore, what she wrote about Lopamudra and Agastya. Agastya Appa and Lopamudra Amma, she calls mother and father. So what she wrote, the whole poem about the divine marriage. You know, her book also is there, The Divine Couple. I put once in the post. The divine couple she has written. So this is the divine couple. It is not what we think of, two bodies and romancing around. It's not that. Two bodies also, if they come together, until they become self-aware of what's happening, this collaboration that's happening, and that's why even two bodies come together, so that they become the medium to study, reflect, contemplate on this aspect. So that is what she wrote about the divine marriage of Agastya and Lopamudra. So in the start, when she revealed a few things which she has shared only with her close disciples. So as I told you the other day, she had shared that when I couldn't read beyond 5 chapters. Small chapters she has written. Fifth chapter I used to go by fifth chapter, fourth or fifth I used to go blank. Because what is happening is you can't read it. When you're reading it, there is some divine meaning, subtle meaning in that. It's a story format. See, that's what Puranas, Ramayana, all this, they are all story format. But if you are deeply aware, there is something else beyond it. And when you connect to something else beyond it, you enter into that state. You go blank. So I was like scratching my head. How am I even going to read this? 4, 5 attempts, and I'm not. I kept it aside. I'm not able to do it. Devi Amma called once. She asked, "Son, how are you doing with that?" I said, "Amma, I can't read only." And she laughed and she said, "Don't worry. Whenever you are able to, just and give me the feedback. Let me know." So once when I was able to go beyond it and all, the same thing, what I'm explaining here, this is what I could perceive very clearly in that. It looks like a story between a Rishi and Rishi Patni. People philosophize so much, conceptualize so much about that story. We'll get stuck in the story only. It is not an ordinary marriage of Agastya and Lopamudra. It is something in this level, what we are talking about. So, this divine romance of this is happening not only between couples, it is happening in your body, even if you're single, it is happening in the whole world. Anywhere you look at, there is a divine romance happening because there is something moving and something aware everywhere.